Hey, what's up guys? We have our NPL Week 4 matchup versus Eric today, and Eric is the coach of the Reno Regis. We are finally done with our division games, so we're playing our very good rival. Week 4 is technically rivalry week, and Eric is definitely a good rival. He was in our division last season. He actually won the division. I came in second over Alpha. We all had very, very good records in the division. We all made playoffs, and obviously I went on to win the NPL Season 2. But yeah, like I said, Eric won the division last year that we were in, so he's a very good battler, honestly. He's beat me one time officially, but it was just kind of a fluke, so every single time I play him, I'm trying to keep my unofficial record versus him at 100%, so we always have to prep very well for these games, and we always have to play very well for these games. And he drafted a very scary team again this year. Last season was probably the best in the league, but this season still very scary, even though it's maybe not the best. I'm not really too sure who has the best draft. They're all pretty good, honestly. But anyway, I'll get right into his team and let you guys know how we team built against him. So Eric drafted Mega-Scizor, Landorus Incarnate, Volcanion with the Z move, Sylveon, Conkeldurr, Kamala, Roserade, Tyrantrum, Mesprit, Leopard, and Frostlass. So if you look at his team isn't too fast. They're all more generally bulky than they are with speed. But then he's got very good priority users like Bullet Punch, Mega-Scizor, and Mach Punch, Conkeldurr, and stuff like that. Even well, that's about it for priority, but most of his stuff is pretty good offensively too. So while they pack that bulk, they do pack a punch as well. So it's going to be pretty difficult, honestly, to try to break through his core and wear down his Pokemon. So the way I try to team build for this match is pretty much get some checks for his big offensive threats, such as Landorus, Volcanion, even Conkeldurr. So have some checks for that, and just pretty much force him to make a play. Eric is the type of player who is very, very, I wouldn't say defensive, but he always makes the correct plays, at least the plays that would make sense. So you have to pretty much outplay him, or just outthink the way you have to think what he's going to do, which is usually a little bit different, because most of the time when I play a battle, I try to dictate the pace of the game, and this time I'm going to let him dictate it a little bit, and then I'm going to try to react to it. So it's just going to be a little bit different, and I can further explain it in the actual battle. But as far as team building goes, I'll just let you know what I brought. So we have to bring Mega-Aerodactyl. Mega-Aerodactyl outspeeds everything on his team, obviously. It's the fastest, it's tied to the fastest thing in the league, unless somebody drafts something like Ninjask. I'm 100 base 50, base 150 speed. So Mega-Aerodactyl is very, very fast. My coverage is very nice for his team as well. Stone Edge, Aerial Ace, Ice Fang with, here, let me get into it real quick. Okay, so here we go. Stone Edge, Aerial Ace, Ice Fang, and Roost with 140 HP, 252 attack investment, Adamant Nature, and 116 base speed. The 116 base speed, I believe, is to outspeed a +1 speed Tyrantrum if he is an Adamant Nature. I'm pretty scared of the Dragon Dance, honestly. I didn't really bring too much for Dragon Dance. I didn't bring Klefki this week to stop like a Dragon Dance sweep, so that's going to be a bit difficult. But looking at everything else, it's going to be pretty. I try to bring everything else to check it, so I thought I would like something like Mismagius over Klefki this week, so we're risking it a bit. But yeah, Roost for reliable recovery. Stone Edge hits pretty much Volcanion, hits Roserade very hard, it hits Mesprit very hard. And it's pretty much my best move versus the Mega-Scizor. I didn't bring Fire Fang on this thing, even though I was really close to bringing it. But I would much rather have Ice Fang versus the Landorus, because it's a bit more threatening to my team. And it's just one of those things that it's harder to kill, honestly, than Scizor. Scizor is quad weak, obviously Lando is quad weak, but I have decent natural checks to Scizor, like the Heatran. So I'm not really too worried about the Scizor as much as I am about the Lando, so that's why I'm bringing Ice Fang over Fire Fang. The Roost allows us to at least, I would say, like recover up on a couple things. There's really only a couple things on this team that I can actually recover up on. One of them being Leopard and the other one being Kamala. Those are the two reliable ones. Everything else is a bit of a like 50-50. Like I could come in on the Conkeldurr and obviously threaten it out with the Adamant Aerial Ace, so I could potentially recover up on that. but obviously Conkeldurr is very strong, very bulky, and it has to be the right situation is what I'm trying to say. So yeah, and maybe something like the Lando if he knows I'm bringing Ice Fang. So that's the reason why we're bringing recovery. It's just so nice to have that recovery, honestly. I get wore down by rocks pretty easily. So yeah, that is the Mega-Aerodactyl set we were bringing. Hopefully it puts in some work. The next Pokemon we were bringing is Heatran with the Chople Berry and the Flash Fire ability. So Heatran is carrying Flamethrower, Flash Cannon, Earth Power, and Stealth Rock. 244 HP investment, 52 special attack, and 212 speed with a timid nature. This timid nature and speed investment allows me to outspeed a lot of things on his team. Specifically the Scizor. The Scizor. I have to outspeed that and hit it with a Flamethrower. The Volcanion, I can outspeed that, hit it with an Earth Power. The Sylveon, Flash Cannon. It's usually a 2-hit KO depending on his set. If he's a very, very bulky set, it won't be a 2-hit KO. But hopefully he won't be a very, very bulky set. Maybe he'll bring Specs or something. Let's see. It's not going to do anything to Kamala, especially if he brings Assault Vest. It's just there to whittle down the Conkeldurr, I guess. Flamethrower is probably my most powerful move. Roserade takes 2 if he's very specially defensive. But if he's pretty offensive, I believe the Flamethrower does have a chance to 1-hit KO. Tyrantrum drops to a Flash Cannon. Mesprit will be able to take it pretty well, and the Frostlass won't be able to take it at all. So it's a pretty good set, honestly. The Chople Berry helps with a lot of things, like Superpower on Scizor, a Superpower on Volcanion for some weird reason on a switch. Obviously Conkeldurr's Drain Punch or Mach Punch, and that's the main reason, and then Tyrantrum Superpower. So the Chople Berry is very handy. It could come in handy because of the fact that I could have this thing in with Conkeldurr, and say we're both the last Pokemon remaining, and he can use that Mach Punch while I can hit him with the Flamethrower. So I will be able to eat one fighting type hit up with the Chople Berry. So that's pretty useful, honestly. This Heatran is just pretty much here for checking Sylveon's Hyper Voice, making sure Scizor can't do anything, wearing things down with the Stealth Rock, and just being a nuisance pretty much. It's very good versus the Roserade, versus the Scizor and the Sylveon. So obviously they can bring stuff like Hidden Power Ground on the Sylveon or the Roserade, but I'm not too worried about it because I have a lot of ground type checks on this team. So anyway, that is the Heatran set we were bringing. The next Pokemon we were bringing is Patrick, our Starmie, with the Colbur Berry, Ability Natural Cure, and Scald Psyshock, Ice Beam, and Rapid Spin. So we were running technically 4 attacks, really 3. 252 HP, 108 special attack, and 148 speed with a timid nature. This allows us to outspeed the Landorus at max speed, so that's very, very useful, honestly. I have to outspeed the Landorus. I only have 2 things that well, 3. I'm forgetting about the Mismagius and potentially something else. I'll let you know in a second. But yeah, so this set is very nice, honestly. The Scald is a decent check to the Scizor. Obviously does a ton to Landorus and stuff like Tyrantrum. Psyshock is also very good. It actually has a chance to OHKO the Roserade if it's an offensive set, I believe, because of the fact that Roserade is so especially bulky and not physically defensive, so that's pretty cool. Does more to the Conkeldurr if it is Assault Vest, which I'm thinking he would bring, and obviously does more to the Sylveon because that's a more especially defensive Pokemon as well. So that helps a lot, honestly. This thing does get checked by quite a bit of things on his team though, like the Roserade. I don't necessarily want to stay in unless I know the Psyshock is going to kill. Same with something like Sylveon. Like obviously Sylveon can beat me 1v1, especially if it's something like a Calm Mind set or a Spec set. Kamala, pretty much, I wouldn't say Kamala beats me. Maybe it does, because it does get Woodhammer. But I don't think I would see him staying in with his Kamala versus me. Mesprit probably beats this thing one-on-one, which is okay. I have answers to Mesprit, so yeah. This thing's just pretty much there to get a fast Rapid Spin off if I need it. The Colbur Berry is pretty nice because it allows me to eat a knockoff from Conkeldurr, and it just allows me to not get OHKO'd from Conkeldurr, pretty much is what I'm trying to say. It just pretty much is saying maybe I can get a Psyshock off on it, maybe I can get a Rapid Spin off on it, stuff like that. So that's the reasoning for Colbur Berry. Also nice if Scizor is packing knockoff or Landorus is packing knockoff. So that's my theory with the Colbur Berry. I didn't really have any other item to bring. I was thinking leftovers, but Colbur Berry is probably my best bet. So that's the Starmie set we were bringing to week 4. Next Pokemon is Grass Kicker our Tangrowth with the Rocky Helmet and the ability Regenerator. This week we're packing Power Whip, Knockoff, Hidden Power Fire, and Leech Seed. As you can see, I'm running Max with the max HP, max defense, and 4 in Spadef with the relaxed nature. So my Hidden Power Fires will be just as strong as my physical type attacks. Well, you know what I mean. Anyway, I have to be max versus his team. His team's very, I wouldn't say, how's a good way to word this? It checks Scizor very well. I have to be eating up those U-turns, Bug Bites, Bullet Punches, stuff like that. And then it eats up the Drain Punch, Mach Punch, even Ice Punch from Conkeldurr. If he's Iron Fist, Max Attack, Adamant, but not the Life Orb sets, he's only doing about like 35 to 45%, which is actually insane. So I will be able to eat 2 usually no matter what, and that's awesome. So the Tangrowth set we are bringing is very cool. Leech Seed, because I don't know if he's going to bring the Roserade. I want Leech Seeds for some extra recovery if I have the chance to use it. Hidden Power Fire is obviously for the Scizor. Nice Scizor check, so he can't just spam Swords Dance on me when he's when I have my Tangrowth in. Power Whip is just very nice stab, I guess. What else does it hit? It hits the Landorus pretty hard and Volcanion for about like 30-ish, 40-ish%. Sylveon doesn't really appreciate it. Tyrantrum can take it actually pretty well. But yeah, it's just nice stab. There really wasn't any other move that I wanted to bring on it. I guess it's just there to stop substitutes too. I don't want Sylveon subbing up on my face or something like Volcanion. So that's one reason Power Whip. Let's see. Knockoff is just nice because it gets rid of items, and like I said, the Hidden Power Fire is really only because of Scizor. So yeah, that's the Tangrowth set we're bringing. It's pretty self-explanatory. It's just max Biz Def. It's just a physical wall that I need, and I'm definitely going to need it in this game to eat up those hits because I don't really have anything else for something like Conkeldurr, at least a reliable check. So this is the most interesting set we are bringing. This is our Zelda, our Meloetta, and I am carrying Assault Vest, so nothing's really changed, but it's a very different set. So we're actually bringing the Meloetta Pirouette form, and if you guys don't know what that means, Meloetta has 2 different forms. So if I click Relic Song with my Meloetta, which it has a 20% chance to sleep because of the ability Serene Grace, my Meloetta will transform into Pirouette form, which is a normal fighting type instead of a normal psychic type like it usually is. And it's I believe it has 128 base attack and 128 base speed. So that is the reasoning why we're bringing Close Combat Return and Ice Punch with the max attack Adamant nature. The speed investment allows me to outspeed the Landorus after Pirouette form transformation, so that's pretty cool. And then I just threw the rest into HP because why not? I'm pretty much bluffing a bulky Assault Vest set for something that can switch into the Volcanion and something that can switch into pretty much like the Roserade or stuff like that, those special attackers, even the Landorus to an extent. So yeah, I'm trying to bluff that, and I fire off my Relic Song because he does not have a Ghost type other than Frostlass, and I really don't think he's bringing Frostlass this match because this thing would actually get hard-walled by Frostlass. So hopefully he does not bring it, but yeah, this thing is actually very nice versus his team. I generally want to use it as a bluff, like I said in the beginning, but then hopefully a late game sweeper. That's one concern that I have, is that it could be a very good late game sweeper if I can get rocks up, start whittling some things down, and stuff like that. It'd also be very nice if I could get rid of his priority users like Mega-Scizor and Conkeldurr, because obviously they can whittle me down too. And I can't take a Mach Punch plus a Bullet Punch, I don't think so. So that's pretty much the Meloetta set. It's just there for like either late game sweep, making him think I'm a bulky set that's just going to hit a special attack on him, and maybe he wants to go out into his Kamala, and I could blow it away with a Close Combat or Return or something like that. So that's just my thinking behind it. Hopefully it'll work out. It's a pretty big risk, honestly, but it's one I'm willing to take. The last Pokemon we're bringing is our Mismagius for the first time this season, so it is Mismagius' debut, or Reaperette. We are bringing the Choice Specs set with Levitate, Shadow Ball, Psychic, Mystical Fire, and Hidden Power Ice. So Shadow Ball is just very nice stab, honestly. Like I said, his only immunity to this thing is Kamala. I don't know if his only resist is Leopard. So Everything else is taking massive damage from Shadow Ball because I am bringing choice specs. This thing will hit pretty hard. Psychic is very nice for the Conkeldurr. It does about 10 to 12% more than the Shadow Ball, so every single bit of HP will matter. It's the difference between a 2-hit KO and a potentially not a 2-hit KO. If he is the Assault Vest set like I think he would bring. Mystical Fire is really nice for the Scizor, the Scizor. 75 base power, fire move. If you guys don't know what it is, I know it's a pretty rare move. Not a lot of things get it. So it has a 100% chance to lower the target special attack too. So maybe that'll come in handy, maybe not, probably not. But yeah, it's just there. It's way better than HP Fire. I thought I'd bring it. Excuse me. It hits the Roserade too, so that's kind of cool. But yeah, the Hidden Power Ice is obviously for the Lando and maybe something like Tyrantrum. But yeah, I mean, it's just a spec set. It outspeeds everything on his team. 228 with the Timid Nature allows me to outspeed Landorus and pretty much just put in work. I'm really hoping this thing can just spam some Shadow Balls or maybe pick off a kill or two. I don't really expect it to do too much. It's a really nice Levitate user, honestly. It checks Landorus pretty well to an extent. Obviously, if it has like knockoff or something, it'll probably just like straight Oko me, but that's okay. So that is the team we are bringing versus Eric and his very scary team of the Reno Regis. We are actually both undefeated, so yeah, this game will be very interesting. So here is the battle. We see he brings the Landorus, the Conkeldurr, the Mega-Scizor, the Volcanion, the Kamala, and the Tyrantrum. So honestly, I have no dedicated lead. Every single time I looked at this team and tried to come up with the lead, I really had no answers because I didn't want to lead my Meloetta and Relic Song and just waste my set away. I wanted to keep that in the back. I didn't want to lead my Tangrowth, get caught off with something like Volcanion, or get caught off with something like the Landorus, and because Volcanion could have Fire Blast and Landorus could have Sludge Wave, and I am a very Fizz-Def set, so I cannot live either of those, which is pretty scary. So I was thinking he would probably just lead with a Stealth Rock or something like, or maybe I was, yeah, I guess I wasn't thinking that, but anyway, I don't know. I was hoping he would lead with something like Conkeldurr, just kind of like scout out a set, because his Conkeldurr had a pretty decent matchup versus my team, at least whenever he leads off with it. So my theory is I'll just lead off with Mega-Aerodactyl, get my Mega Evolution off as quick as possible, because I want to be able to eat hits, and I don't want to be able to switch in with a weaker Aerodactyl, so I wanted to get the Mega off as soon as possible. So I'll just click play here. I'm actually going to click slow probably, so I just go ahead and lead my Aerodactyl, and he actually leads the Tyrantrum. So this was pretty bad because I was very scared of the Dragon Dance set, so I just go ahead, Mega Evolve, and click Ice Fang. It is a 2-hit KO, but looking at this damage, it did nothing. So unfortunately for him, we flinched him. I feel really bad about that because he clicked Head Smash. I learned that later in the chat. But he is a very, very bulky Tyrantrum, so I can't stay in here. So I have to switch out into my Tangrowth, which is a decent check to it. Looking at the leftovers, I didn't think he would necessarily be too powerful, especially since it did 0 damage. And that is pretty much, it could have been uninvested. Obviously, he's probably got a little bit of investment, but it's a very, very defensive Tyrantrum. So he does go ahead and Toxic me, which is a good set, honestly. The Toxic is very, very, I wouldn't say unexpected, but it's just innovative. I like the set, honestly. So he Toxic my Tangrowth as I just lead seed him. I was actually predicting a switch as he just gets up his rocks too. So that's cool. I just go for the knockoff, predicting yet another switch, but he's just staying in here, and I'm just getting a little bit more recovery and getting whittled down at the same time. So it's just a bit of a, I guess, a struggle here as he switches out, and I believe I just go straight for the Power Whip, trying to knock him out. He switches into the Scizor. Obviously, this Power Whip is going to do next to nothing, which is okay. Honestly, we're still in a decent situation right now. Obviously, he is definitely leading the momentum right now, and I'm just going to go ahead and predict the U-turn here. So I go into a Mega-Aerodactyl. There's really no reason for him not to U-turn, so I'm trying to get some momentum back here. So as he just Mega Evolves and does just that, I'll speed it up now. So he does just that, and I have my Mega-Aerodactyl in here. Obviously, I don't want to stay in versus a Conkeldurr. I can't Oko it, it's just so freaking bulky. So he doubles into, I go into my tank growth giving it a check, and he actually doubles into a Scizor, which is totally fine because I can check this thing too, as he's just going to get whittled by the Rocky Helmet, and I'm going to, I believe, click, what am I going to click here? Power Whip? Yeah, I clicked Power Whip, predicting the sack of the Tyrantrum, but we're able to catch the Volcanion here for a decent amount of damage, so I'm going to go into this thing because it's really only my first, well, I have Starmie too, but obviously Bloom Doom is a thing, so I can't really go into that. So he actually burns my Meloetta, and that really sucks because it just pretty much renders this Meloetta useless because of the fact that it's a physical Meloetta. So I just go for the Relic Song and transform, revealing my set, as it's going to force him to switch out, and I can hit something with a close combat. Excuse me, and I hit the Conkeldurr for 30%, which is pretty nice. So obviously I don't want to just stay in and lose this thing. So I go into my Starmie here because I know he's just going to Mach Punch. He doesn't want to take unnecessary damage. And I get my Starmie in here for free. So I get, well, not for free, but for next to nothing. So I'm able to spin away these rocks, which is very nice because I don't want rocks on the side of the field. So I go into my Meloetta here, pretty much sacking it off as he clicks U-turn, and Meloetta does next to nothing this game. So we lose Meloetta pretty early, but we're still in this. He goes into the Conkeldurr, and I just go into this thing because I can freely set up a Roost, which I do just here. And he lost his leftover, so he won't get any recovery back, and I'm able to knock it out with an Ice Fang. So he loses the Tyrantrum, so rocks are no longer going to be here, and obviously I can't stay in on the Scizor. And I know he's just going to click, or I thought he was going to click U-turn, but he actually clicks Bullet Punch, which is great because it allows me to keep my tank growth alive. So I go into my, Mismagius here. I could have made a couple different plays as he crits U-turn, but it's not that big of a deal. So Mismagius is in here, and this was a very I guess it was a risky play, but it was a play that I needed to make. So I believed he was going to be Assault Vest, and I still think he is Assault Vest. So look, the range that the Conkeldurr is at, Psychic does not kill it. I believe the official calc was something like it was mid 50s to like high 60s. So it was about 55 maybe 56 to like 68 69. So I couldn't risk the Psychic because it wouldn't kill. So what I needed to do is get one more round of Rocky Helmet damage off on this thing and switch back into my Mismagius. So he goes for the knockoff here like I expected on this Mismagius, and I lose my Rocky Helmet, which is pretty unfortunate. But now I'm predicting a Drain Punch because he wants to get that HP back, and I go into my Mismagius on the Drain Punch, and I'm able to become immune to that because I'm a Ghost type. So now he's in Psychic range, and I can knock him out with the Psychic. The Shadow Ball actually could have killed too, but I didn't want Kamala coming in either. So we're able to knock it out with the Psychic, which is great because I just wanted Mismagius to do just that. So he goes into the Scizor here as I go into my Tangrowth. He just roosts off the damage, which is probably the best play. Clicks U-turn, I actually live it. And what do I go for here? Yeah, I just go for the knockoff because of the fact that I knew I was going to die to toxic damage. And this is crucial information because now I know he is a Z moveset or no item. So obviously he's probably bringing a Z move. So anyway, I just go for the Stone Edge here because it's my best play. Switch back out into the Heatran because there's really nothing he can do but Bullet Punch me or U-turn. So I go into Heatran, get a free at least hit off or a free move off. So I go for the rocks here, thinking it'll be worthwhile in the end. Something like the Volcanion, stuff like that. So he locks himself into Rock Slide, and looking at the damage, that did like next to nothing. Usually the Landorus is much more powerful than that. So I did some calcs, and he is either a Yache Berry set or some other set. He is not Life Orb. So knowing that he's not Life Orb is very nice. This is where I was guessing if he was a Yache Berry set or a, I don't know, Expert Belt. There's no way he'd be Expert Belt, like maybe a Choice Scarf set or something like that. So it's definitely not Life Orb, which is good to know. Allows me to live pretty much any hit with my what do you call it, Aerodactyl and some stuff like that. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, so I have my Starmie in here, and I don't really know what to do here. So I believe I just go for, what do I go for here? I go for the Ice Beam, just trying to knock out his Landorus, and now I just go for the Side Shock because I know he's a Soul Fest after that damage, as he's able to get the Rapid Spin off, but I'm able to knock out the Kamala with the next Side Shock, so that's great. So there's no more Kamala, no more Ghost immunity, everything else takes a lot from a Ghost type move. So I go for the Side Shock here, predicting the Volcanion to come in on the Scald, but he just stays in U-turns, which is totally fine. It really didn't matter, honestly. I could have gotten a Scald off, potentially burned it, but it's no big deal. As I go into my Mega-Aerodactyl here, because I threatened this thing out with an Ice Fang, there's no really need to predict here. I wanted to just go for the Ice Fang anyway. Do about 11%. This is a very, very bulky Scizor, by the way. I go into my Heat Train here because I know he's just going to click Roost or U-turn on out, and now I get a free Flamethrower off on anything that he wants to come in with because I outsped the Volcanion if he wanted to go into that, and I'm able to knock out the Scizor, which is huge. No reason for me to double into anything or predict anything there because I can just go back into this thing and click Aerial Ace because I either know he's going to be locked into that move or he is not going to be able to kill me. So I go into this thing, click Aerial Ace twice, knock out the Volcanion, as he goes into the Landorus and reveals that he is indeed Choice Scarf, but since he is Sheer Force, there is no chance to flinch me, unable to knock him out with an Ice Fang. So that is a very good game to Eric and the Reno Regis. Week 4 was insane. That was a very, very intense game, and I can't wait to see if we play him in the playoffs. So Eric is in the different conference this year, and that is the only other chance we will be able to play him this year, unlike last year when we played him 3 times. So anyway, that was a great game. Best game of the season, closest game of the season too. So I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I'm sure he did as well. So we are now 4-0, 3-0 in the division, and I believe we're still on top of the league because of the fact that we have the most differential, so that's pretty cool. At this point, there are only 2 undefeated teams, me and another person from the, I believe he actually is in our conference, but he's definitely not in our division, so that's pretty cool. And yeah, so next week I believe we play Nick, coach of the Texas Tyrantrums. We played him last year. If you guys remember, I believe we did pretty well just because our team matched up so well. Our team doesn't match up so well this year, so we'll see how it goes. I hope you guys stay tuned for week 5 whenever that takes place. And once again, great game to Eric. Make sure you check out his channel, and I will see you guys later. Peace.